Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today as we are joined by Andrew Cluley, Communications Director, Ann Arbor Public Schools, Ms. Liz Margolis, Executive Director of Student in School Safety. And we are delighted to be joined this afternoon by Ann Arbor Police Department Chief Cox, to really just talk about and connect on some of the questions and concerns that have come up this week. You know, it's been a very challenging week in Michigan with the tragedy in Oxford, and also some questions and concerns that have arisen across Southeast Michigan and here in Ann Arbor Public Schools as well. So I asked Chief Cox to join us. I'm very grateful that he took time to join us today to share a little bit more information about where we've been and about our next steps. Liz, we appreciate having you really working in this partnership with the city and with our police department.
Yes, Dr. Swift and the chief, we have had a long-standing partnership with our local law enforcement. We work really closely together for years to help ensure school safety protocols and responses are coordinated. So we really do appreciate the chief being here with us today.
Very good. So you've joined us today, Chief Cox, in particular, because I know that you are supporting our community with even a little more clarity around some of the questions and concerns that have arisen this week. Share with us a little more about your thinking.
Well, thank you for having me. I wish this were a better occasion to be with you all, but first of all, I want to compliment you for actually having this forum and giving parents and students an opportunity to kind of understand how prepared and how much work did you all have put into keeping everyone safe. Prior to coming to Ann Arbor, I was in Boston and having been through some pretty horrific things there as well. I would say that what people need to understand, at least as far as helping them feel safe, is understanding that if you're in an environment where there's been a lot of preparation, where there's been a lot of work put on the front end to prepare for situations, I mean, that is the most, or I should say, that's the best way to ensure that when something does happen, that you're prepared and that you can, react appropriately. And it's not the kind of thing that you want to occur, but when it does, preparation is key. And in my time here, that's certainly something that I've seen and know about. You talked about the history of being able to work with the police department and in the schools and even within the county. You have a long history of preparation, and that should certainly make parents and the community feel very, very safe. So that I wanted to start off with. We've recently had an opportunity, both our office and the sheriff's office, to actually to put out a few words pertaining to some of the preparation that we've had together as a group. And if you don't mind, I can read you that statement if you think it's helpful. The Ann Arbor Police Department and the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Office offer our sincerest condolences and respect to the victims and families of the tragic events of Oxford, Michigan. We would like to ensure the community that both the Ann Arbor Police Department and the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Department is committed to partnering with the Ann Arbor Public Schools, our local law enforcement partners, and the other school districts within the community to provide the safest learning environment possible. For several years, our local agencies and the school districts within the county have operated in a coordinated manner concerning active aggressor situations. For several years, your local agencies, as we just talked about, have worked with your school department. And in 2013, we began implementing ALICE, active aggressive training, throughout the county, and every school district and every police agency throughout the county has participated in that and other trainings as well. I know Liz made reference to the history of the trainings that have occurred. But we have actually a very long history, and I'm not going to go into some of these other trainings that we've gone to together and coordinated, but we've gone through quite a bit together regarding some of that. In reference to some of the, certainly the threats. We want to make this statement known that it's important for people to understand that any threat to school safety and the school personnel will be fully investigated by law enforcement. A threat relayed online or in person, whether real or otherwise, is a serious criminal offense, and the law enforcement community will pursue the appropriate avenues to identify criminally charge those responsible. If you see something, say something. However, we ask you to do not repost or forward threats on email or social media. If you or your child or a loved one hear of threats or concerning behavior surrounding the school safety, please don't hesitate to call 911. And if you want to call the Ann Arbor Police Department directly, you can do so at 734-994-2911. So we coordinate together to put that statement out, as well as a couple other little statements that I did not make reference to provide some guidance. I think it's important for students and parents to understand that the criminal charges that we referred to have to do with threats, intimidation, terrorism, and sometimes people might see something related to what they think occurred, and it might be false, and they might want to retweet that or re-put that out. Well, they can actually be investigated, just for doing that if they knew it to be false, or more importantly, it just causes more terror and things of that nature. So I think it's really important for people to understand that when they see that, there's no need to retweet that. If you think people are in jeopardy or the safety at concern, dial 911 and let us know about it directly. We will come and do what we need to make sure people are safe. But that's the number one concern out there. And I know, we're dealing with young people, and sometimes they think it's a joke, or they think it's it's not that big a deal. This is a very big deal, and that's something we want to emphasize to parents and students. Don't do this, and don't participate in this kind of behavior of putting things out there, whether you think it's a joke or not, regarding this. We have limited resources, and we need to investigate the appropriate way with the appropriate resources, and not be sent on goose chases. So that's about all I have for a prepared statement. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask me.
Thank you so much, Chief Cox, for those wise words and the guidance. We so appreciate our partnership, like we've shared. We share the same goal in our two agencies, organization across this community, and that is to keep our students and staff, our parents and families, our Ann Arbor community safe. That's our number one goal every day. And this time of concern has been one where not only have those social media posts disrupted education process in terms of school, but also the peace of mind and the sense of safety that we all need to have in order to have a quality in-school learning experience. So I just appreciate your helping our students and our parents and our families, our staff, understand the priority that we place on safety and the very critical component of what it means to post or to repost any of these sorts of concerns. That, that's not a little thing, that is a very serious issue. I do want to thank you for working with us with the concerns that have arisen this week. Both the Ann Arbor Police Department and our county sheriff's office have been integral, and those processes continue even now, so that we are certain that we followed up on every concern. So what questions might you have, Liz or Andrew, that we feel like the chief might be able to share that would be helpful to our families?
So Chief Cox, I think the one question that I have, and you sort of alluded to it, but the aspect of what a student should do, and honestly, it should also be for a a parent right now what they should tell their student to do if they do see a thread of some sort on social media, and why the immediate reposting of it is not the right thing to do, that very much they should be doing something else. Can you talk about sort of what they should be doing?
Yeah, that's a excellent question. I guess the main thing is really about the credibility of things, and they may see something, might have a question about it. It's okay to ask us and pass that on. But when I talked about, the potential harm that's involved with maybe putting a thread out that might be false, or tweeting it and putting it out there, and the drain on law enforcement and trying to investigate all those many retweets of the same offense in multiple jurisdictions. If they contact their local law enforcement person, we can look into it and verify if it's true, if it's false, without exponentially putting out more fear, unnecessary fear around things that may be a misinterpretation, or something that's easily we could tell that it's just not a real offense or things of that nature. These charges I'm talking about are very, very serious, in the sense that these are 20-year offenses with fines of over $20,000. They're felonies, and they are very, very serious offenses, putting that people in fear around it. It's almost like a terrorist event to do that sometimes. And the nature of social media sometimes is people want to put that out there just to share something to further scare folks, and we really don't need that. If there's a concern about the safety of the child or the loved one or someone they know, contact the local police immediately and let us handle it from that point on. There's no need to share that on or things of that nature.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Chief, I also just wanted to share that one of the other tools we have in our safety toolbox is the state's okay to say. There is obviously 911 is the quickest, easiest way for folks to report, but we do have other areas for both families and students in the community to report. Okay to say, you can do a text message, you can do a phone call. The number is 8555 okay, the number 2, and then say, SAY. You can text to 652729. So there's a variety of ways and tools that families and students can use to confidentially report these things as well.
Yeah, and you're right. There are those tools. I didn't mention them earlier because I think they connect more to the state police than our local department. But absolutely, and we would encourage that for folks that want to certainly share as much information as they can without being known. So.
One thing that you said to me earlier this week, Chief Cox, that was very reassuring for me to hear is that in this week of a high level of concern in Michigan, and really anytime we need it, that our Michigan State Police and the FBI were behind the scenes monitoring every one of these situations, so that perhaps Chief Cox, we've got something in Ann Arbor and that's connected to something over in another part of the state. So do you want to speak a little bit more to that in terms of just our collaboration and partnership across the agencies, across the state, to make sure that we're keeping our children safe?
Absolutely. The saying about it takes a village. Well, it does in many different ways, including in law enforcement. We rely on our federal partners, our state partners, our local partners to share information and actually to work on some of these cases. And certainly between the state police and our FBI and the other federal agencies that might have more resources than we do, we really enlist their help immediately on these kind of cases, and they are quite good at helping us cut through some of the volume of material and things of that nature. And so, yes, we work together. We try to work together in a seamless way, and it's important that people understand that we do partner with folks, because we're dealing with the internet. Sometimes, these threats can come from almost anywhere. And locally we might not have the resources, but federally they do have the resources to ascertain where it came from and things of that nature. So Yes, our local law enforcement partners and federal partners are very, very important in helping us all keep the community safe. Really that you just want to remind the public that, we're doing all we can behind the scenes, partnering with both, the school department and working with our federal partners and local partners to keep everyone safe. And the lack of hearing from us is not that we're not working, it's just because we have nothing to say. And if there is a threat that's concerning to the public or individuals, we will give instructions in what to do and how to do it at that particular time. So minus that, think that you are safe, and we will definitely inform you when there's something to be concerning about and share that as fast as possible.
Well, Chief Cox, we so appreciate you coming by on a Friday afternoon to spend a few minutes with us. We knew that ending this challenging week on a Friday needed to be about clarifying some information for our students, our staff, and our parents, for our Ann Arbor community. We so appreciate our long-term partnership. We do so much work literally every day together to ensure that our students are safe at school, that our staff is safe, and that we have really the most effective and efficient operations that we can together. We can't always stay ahead of social media because that mushrooms 24/7, but I appreciate you sharing the good, sound guidance and really understanding what we're dealing with at this time. So we thank you so much, Andrew, Liz, and Chief Cox, for being with us. And we'll be sharing this video out so that our students and parents and community have an opportunity to share in this conversation.